COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC, In It Together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Hey there, happy Thursday, and welcome to Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Listen, last week we showed you the 5th Circuit Solicitors Office Town Hall meeting on gun violence at the Garners Ferry Adult Recreation Center. Today, we're going to talk to Solicitor Byron Gipson. He joins us to discuss the event and how he plans to move forward. Plus an upcoming warrant resolution event in December. Thank you, Solicitor Gipson. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That was a great event a couple of weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll share just the information that we learned as well as next steps. And that's, as you know, that's what we're geared towards here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Plus, Ebony Cornish shares her weight loss journey and how she is now encouraging and inspiring other women too. Thank you, Ebony. We appreciate you, beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to get ready. Me and you, Byron, we're going to do this with Coach Eb, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's go.
Ebony, Byron is a bad influence on me. He lives across the street and he brings me food.
We're just gonna make a few tweaks to what he brings to you. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
But it's, if we're working on it, I can, I can stand to lose a couple. We'll just put it that way.
All of that and more coming up next on Coping with COVID. But first, your COVID community updates. The hand count ordered by the Elections Commission found no discrepancies, certifying previous results that Daniel Rickman and Aditi Bustles have won their races. This after problems were reported at several polling places Tuesday. Officials say the issue was triggered by human error on the election software. It is the holiday season amidst COVID, and officials are cautious about another surge in numbers. Travel and gatherings over the last year and a half have caused spikes in cases. And this year, medical professionals don't see any difference, and they're actually concerned about how it may affect schools too. Doctors are urging people to get vaccinated. Stay close to home if you're not vaccinated, and continue to wear your mask. And the longest partial eclipse in centuries will take place at 4 a.m. Are you going to be up to check it out? It's going to last about 3.5 hours. The Earth will pass in front of the sun, causing the planet's shadow to fall on the moon. At its peak, about 97% of the moon will be in full shadow, with a small sliver on the left side of the moon shining brightly. Now, the red color will become visible at 3:45 a.m. We could see it in North America, Japan, New England, Australia, and of course, right here in the US of A. Will you stay up to watch it? I'll probably just be getting up about that time. SCDHEC has the most up-to-date list of times, dates, and location for COVID testing, vaccinations, and including children's vaccinations in and around South Carolina. Also, if you are a veteran, please contact the VA for your COVID vaccination. You can see that information on the screen. Now, several retail outlets are offering COVID vaccinations for both adults and children, including Kroger pharmacies, CVS pharmacies, and also the CVS locations inside Target stores. Brooklyn Baptist Church has their vaccine clinic open. It's part of Lexington Medical Center. It's open 7 days a week. And again, it does include the children's COVID vaccination. Now, the library is offering free self-collection kits for COVID tests. That means you can get 5 tests per week, and you can collect your saliva, to test yourself for COVID-19 right there in the privacy of your home. Again, that's happening at all of the Richland County Library locations, and you can get 5 per week. Don't miss your shot. If you are having some challenges getting to your COVID vaccination appointment, the Comet is offering free rides. So don't miss your shot. Catch the Comet. Also, online registration help is available through Get Set Up if you are having a challenge making your COVID vaccination because you're not quite technologically advanced. You can call the folks at Get Set Up and they will help you get set up. Now, if you lost a loved one due to COVID, FEMA is continuing their COVID reimbursement for funeral expenses. You can see that information on the screen, and they will help you get a reimbursement for funeral expenses. Also, SC Bar Association and SC Legal Services has a toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. Lexington County has a bill assistance program available, and they still do have some funding available. SC Housing and Dominion Energy has assistance for rent and utilities. SC Housing has a frontline workers home buying assistance program. And finally, SC Hopes has a 24-hour assistance line from the South Carolina Department of Mental Health. If you or someone you know is having some challenges coping with COVID, please contact SC Hopes from the South Carolina Department of Mental Health. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We are streaming live on the Tailor Made Production Facebook page. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Not only will you be able to get notifications when to watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and first Monday with comedian George Wallace, you'll also be able to get all of your COVID-related updates and see past shows. We're also streaming live on the YouTube channel on YouTube. I want to say hi to all of you YouTubers and thank you so much for watching. And please encourage you to go over there and hit the subscribe button. Now, throughout the show, you will see a scroll at the bottom of the screen. It will have all types of information. Some of the information that I just mentioned about COVID resources, funeral expenses, financial resources, locations to get your COVID test and COVID vaccine, but also other information concerning jobs, employment, and so much more. So please check the scroll at the bottom of the screen and don't forget to post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. 2 weeks ago, the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office hosted their town hall meeting at the Garners Ferry Recreation Center. It was on gun violence. Last Thursday, we actually aired it here. We aired it here so that you could check it out. Solicitor Byron Gipson joins us to talk about it. Byron, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for the gun violence town hall meeting. I thought it was quite fascinating, to be quite frank with you. And I was so impressed that there were so many people there from the community who have boots on the ground doing work.
Right. And that's what I've told you before. That's what I'm all about, just kind of the next steps, because, there's so many opportunities that we have that we don't take advantage of. Yeah. And the opportunity here is to link, community partners with, people who are in positions of power so they can voice some of their, any discontent, some of the angst that's out there. But once that's done, let's talk about what we can do to move the meter forward. Right. And so, as you know, what we saw is at least 15 or so groups that were out there, able to kind of talk about some issues, talk about some of the things that they are providing and some of the services that are provided, because there are a lot of things that are going on out here that we just don't know about.
Right.
So, I think the takeaway, one of the takeaways is if we can get people under one umbrella who are offering different types of services that can assist, youth who are just in whatever condition they're in. It's not always about, folks who have made a mistake. It's sometimes just having organizations that are out there that can help people, give them something to do, give them some other options, but to do some of those things so they never even show up in our office. But if they do show up in this office, then just organizations that can help them with mentorship, with different pieces that can maybe move them forward so that they can move past whatever phase this is of their life and find the positive pieces to it and just find their better selves. And that's what we want.
Right. I love that idea, Byron, just to put everyone under one umbrella. I think that will help make them more effective. Mm-hmm. That will, like you said, provide greater resources for the young people that need them, and also help your office too to identify who's who, what's what, and what may be needed.
That's right. And kind of identify who's doing the work, who's doing it well. And then the key is I think some folks sometimes look and say, well, there's the solicitor's office. Let's go get some money from the solicitor's office to do X, Y, or Z. And we're not positioned to do that. We don't have the ability to do that. And especially in these days with budgets, we don't have that ability. But what we do have is we have the resources of getting everyone together, calling power brokers in the room, and then maybe we can use these as teaching moments so we can teach people how to go and get grants. We can teach them, how to be fiscally responsible with it. And when I say we can organize and allow, folks to kind of share that information so that their organizations can be stronger. And we can also use those organizations as referrals when we have juvenile cases where the judge is saying, all right, well, I need them to go and either do community service or learn about anger management or learn about these different things. And here are these 7 or 8 or 15 different organizations that are there. And then you can pick from the one that suits you best.
Man, Byron, that is really so innovative. Because I think that's what the goal is. And I know this is your goal, to really help the community, to bring services and ideas to the community, to really do some real work. I mean, I know you're doing the work. You're not just talking about the work. And I love the fact that you are really wanting to help not only the young people, but the people that are providing services to the young people, because these are just grassroots organizations. They're doing this from the little bit of resources, little or no resources they have. How more powerful can they be if they learn how to really access some funds?
That's right. And the interesting part, I was talking to a young man, and he talked about some of the things that he's doing and how he comes out of his pocket, and that's just something that he's always done. And yeah, that's well and good, but there are other resources that are there. And so I had a conversation with a gentleman who works with the Department of Public Safety, and there are other resources that are there that they're just wanting to give money to people to do things, but you have to go through certain steps. And so one of the plans is going to be to bring him into the fold so that we can have a teaching moment to say, hey, these are the things you need to be able to do. This is how you structure it. This is what a 501c3 needs to look like so that we can offer these dollars. But when we offer them, you got to spend them responsibly, and you got to be able to account for what you spent. And so just to teach those things so that all of these organizations with wonderful ideas, wonderful resources who can help people, are out there, and they can have the same access to monies as many other organizations have.
Yeah, this is mind blowing because, like I said, I mean, if you strengthen the people in the community that are trying to help these young people, not only are they strengthened, empowered, but because they have that organization, and again, have those resources, they can in turn help the young people in the community. You talked about resources. One of the things that came out of the meeting, I know you remember when Representative Wendy Brawley mentioned that there are gazillions, if that's a word, of dollars. There are billions of dollars coming into our state, into our city. And I think Jermaine Johnson said he just asked for 1% of that money so that it can be funneled back in the community. So she even said then, she wants to be part of the process to help these people, secure some of those funds.
That's right. And that's the key, because again, there's some wonderful ideas, but if you don't have access or you don't understand how to do it, it's just an idea. And so when you can put people in a room with other folks who have that expertise, then I think that's where the difference happens. Because, we can talk about change all we want. We can talk about the spikes in violence, and you're not going to wrest your way out of this problem. You're not going to try your way out of this problem, trying cases and all of that other kind of stuff. That's not what's going to get it done. What's going to get it done is grassroots. And so the way that happens is that if you have organizations and families and people who community members trust, then they'll go to them before they come to us. And that's really what it should be. That's back to just kind of that each one teach one mentality, that mentality of it takes a village. This is the village. And it may be 20, however many organizations it is, but that's where the power really lies. And so for those people to have the opportunity to be in the room with Sheriff Lott, with Chief Holbrook, with Representative Brawley, Representative Johnson, and Brian Main, who is from ATF, federal agency, that matters because these agencies see that, hey, these are people who are here. They have the pulse of the community. They're not just out here talking about it, but they're actually being about the work. And these are people we can reach out to. And when they reach out to us, we can start trying to do some things to partner and help. And there's just so many different things that can happen with this that can help us, just help us with these numbers that we're seeing with these spikes in violence.
Right.
We got to do something different because what we've been doing doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so we got to be more innovative.
And that's the bottom line. What can happen? What can be done? How can you mix the government, with the community to make things happen? Because your point is so true. You've got to go to the community. You've got to go to the streets because there are people there that know the communities, know the players that you will not have access to.
That's right. Or who will never trust us no matter what we'd say or do.
That's right.
Because history and otherwise. So understanding that, then we have to look at other ways, other alternatives to help people. Yeah, and this is one of them that empowers groups. And by virtue of the empowerment of those groups, they can empower the people who they touch the most, which is people in their communities.
Yeah. And then in turn, as you say, everybody is helped because gun violence is down, crime is down, because we've got to meet the needs of these young people. We have got to meet the needs of these young people. Yeah. Cynthia Watson is joining us. And thank you, Cynthia. We appreciate you. She says, I'm thrilled to have a solicitor who understands community grassroots advocacy. That's what it's about.
It is. And it's just, I say, there are a lot of blessings I've had in my life just with how I was raised and whatnot. But, but for the grace of God, any of us could be in a situation where you're at the mercy of a solicitor's office or of a judge or of a juvenile court. And so we got to understand that. And we got to stop standing up here preaching from the mountaintops and telling people what they do and don't do and trying to, dig a little deeper and understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the difference now between, our age group and theirs is if there's a fight, 20 years ago, 25, 35 years ago, the rarest of the rare was that you heard a gun being used.
Right. That was rare. Yeah.
That's right. Maybe you heard of a knife or brass knuckles or something like that, but it was the rarest of rare. Now it's commonplace that these things are being solved with the use of guns. So again, a lot of these groups talk about anger management, kind of figuring other ways to kind of compartmentalize what's going on so that you can move through some of those situations. And we just got to invest a little bit more in that. And again, there are organizations that are willing to give money. So let's put them under one umbrella so they can talk about it. They can learn how to do it properly and then offer the services that each of them wants to offer.
Have you been able to reach out to any of those organizations yet, Byron?
I have. But I think even more, and some reached out to me immediately. What we did at the end, after the camera shut off, and this is the part I love, is we talked, exchanged information. So we got, like I said, at least 15 different groups who were there. Yeah. And so the next step there is going to be a convening that I'd like to have. I'm not even going to say that we will have.
Yes.
That will include Representative Brawley, Representative Johnson, and a couple of those other stakeholders that I mentioned. I won't call their names now because I want them to have that opportunity to do it in private, but so they can have a conversation about this is how you do these things. So yeah, I've heard from several, and they're all excited. So the key is now just keeping that momentum going. Again, I keep saying it. I'm about the next steps. So what are the next steps?
Yeah, I'm so glad they're excited. I'm so glad they see this as a good opportunity to come under one umbrella so that everybody can not only get some help, but give some help. That is so important. That's the important part.
That's right. I'm excited. It's kind of daunting because the whole the forum took a different turn than I was initially expecting, but it's a turn that it needed to take. and even talking to the sheriff and others afterwards, they were pleased that it took on that different kind of forum. And that's why we got to convene. We got to talk and we got to talk about, as we talked about some of these pieces, but then the other piece was legislation, just helping, organizations understand that, again, we can march, we can say a lot of things. We can have these internet battles. We can do whatever we want to do. But if you want to make real change, it has to go through legislation.
Yeah.
And that's the way you get our organizations together and start doing the things that we say that we can do them to the best of our ability. And then at that point, you're able to go 5 or 6 deep when you go talk to a legislator and say, these 5 groups want this, and this is why we want it. And they have to listen.
Yeah.
Your voters. There's people there.
That's right. You have power. Look, you have power, and your vote is your voice all day.
That's right.
We're talking to Solicitor Byron Gipson with the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office. We've been talking about his gun violence town hall meeting that was a couple of weeks ago. Byron, before we move forward, I want to ask, you mentioned that both you and, Police Chief and Sheriff Lott said that kind of thought it was going to go in one direction, but it went in another direction. Where do you think it was going to go? Where did you think it was going to go? And where did it go that you were pleased that it went?
I mean, my first thought was, we'll talk a little bit about the spikes in violence, which we did. And we talked about what we thought some of the root causes were. We also had interim director Eden Hendrick there of Department of Juvenile Justice. She used to be a juvenile prosecutor as well. So you had a wealth of knowledge about what the issues are, why the issues are what they are. You even had, as I said, ATF was there so they could talk about this proliferation of guns. So we began talking about that. And I thought we may get more into the policy, the minutia of those things and how, these matters are investigated and why, we think guns are being trafficked this particular way. I wasn't quite sure that's where we were prepared to go. But as the community started to speak, it became clear that we needed to be in another direction. Right. And I was pleased to be able to pivot in that direction, because when it's all said and done, I want these four to happen because, for communities. Right. And so this is exactly what needed to happen.
Right.
For them to be engaged in what we're doing.
Yeah, because these were the issues that they wanted to talk about.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So this is not the first town hall meeting. You had one before a couple of months ago, and you had said at the onset that you were planning on having a series of town hall meetings. Right. What else is on the plate as far as these town hall meetings are concerned?
I think there are a few things that I have, but sometimes we look a little bit and take the temperature of the room to kind of see what people are interested in knowing and what some of the hot button issues are. I mean, obviously we're in the midst of verdicts, right? We're waiting on juries to deliberate in two major cases, one of which is they aren't deliberating yet, but Ahmaud Arbery will be deliberating soon, and then the case over in Wisconsin. And so sometimes those issues are out there. There's so many questions about guns, possession of guns, Second Amendment rights, responsible gun ownership. That's one place to go. But I think as we talk about things that are happening in Columbia, it continues to be just relationships between police, law enforcement, communities. That's always going to be an overarching thing or theme that we need to talk about and continue to bridge gaps, inform one another, and to be in the same room so that if and when those crises happen, we have people that we trust who we can talk to about those things and make sure that the right thing is done all the time, not just some of the time, but all of the time. Right. So I think we'll be going in that direction regardless. And if there's a subset of something that we need to talk about as well, we'll do that. But the key is, again, just partnerships with community, law enforcement, and legislators, and we'll take that in the direction that we believe it needs to go in.
Another event that you've been having, had one very successful event that we talked about a couple of months ago that you're having again, is the bench warrant resolution event. Now, another one is coming up next month. We're looking at the flyer there. And this time, as you said you were going to do last month, was expanded. So it's 2 locations and 3 days. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's going to be 3 days, December 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And
that's 4 days. 6, 7, 8, and that's 4 days.
Yeah, it is. 6, 9, 8. I went to law school, so I didn't have to do math.
Listen, I wasn't a math major, but I think I should.
But no, it'll be December 6th through 9th. And the 2 locations will be Bible Way, which is on Atlas Road. And the other location will be Rehoboth Baptist Church. And that is, so it's Senator Darrell Jackson's church and the Representative and also Reverend Ivory Thigpen's church. So the key there was, as we started to look at the numbers from the last one, we saw different zip codes that we know there are several bench warrants and things in that area. So we felt like, all right, if we can do 2, if we can staff 2, we'll have one on the east side of Columbia, then one in the northeast side. And it just makes travel, folks who are having travel issues, and it gets dark so much earlier now. It's a little simpler to have it in 2 locations.
Yeah, so, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so both of them are, when I say both of them, Reverend Thigpen and Senator Jackson are excited about these initiatives. And they just want to, again, keep moving the meter forward, keep finding ways to alleviate some of the law enforcement contacts that have to happen, and at least have a soft landing so that, again, if people have these bench warrants that are out there because they missed court, let's get them back on track. Again, it's not amnesty. It is getting them back on track so that they can get rid of that fear of being arrested if they get stopped or somebody knocking on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning to arrest them for missing court. We just want to alleviate some of those contacts and get them back on track so that they can take care and manage that court date and whatever the matter that's found them, in our court system. They can manage that better.
Yeah, we found, with the last one, the first one, that so many people just had that weight lifted off of them. I mean, we heard testimony after testimony after testimony of people who said they were either hesitant about coming, they knew they needed to come, but no matter what the beginning story was, the end story was always the same. People were glad they came and felt like they had gotten their lives back.
That's right. That's right. And we're excited about that. I mean, just hearing that story, so many times. We actually, the Public Defender's Office began sending notices last week, and they got calls already, about when can we come in? When can we do this? Because, I mean, again, a lot of people, realize they missed court, and it could have been last year. It may have been beginning of the pandemic before we put other initiatives in place to try to alleviate the bench, just the issuing of bench warrants during the pandemic for so many reasons. It could be that they forgot, they moved away. It could be a whole lot of things, but to just take away the blame and say, hey, just come in, get on, this is not a trick. You can come in, you can get this bench warrant lifted. The public defenders are there. They can advise you a little bit about, what's going on, how the court system works. You're not talking directly to my office. You're talking to somebody who may already represent you, but either way, you're talking to them and they're protecting your rights. And we're getting you new court dates and rescinding, meaning getting rid of that bench warrant so you can leave with that weight off your shoulders, knowing you're not going to get arrested. I can tell you that nobody who came through those doors got arrested as a result of a bench warrant. I can tell you that unequivocally. I was there all 3 days and watched everything that took place.
Yeah. And that's going to be December 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. What a great Christmas present from 2 until 7 p.m. at Rehoboth and in the Northeast, and Bible Way on the east side, Garners Ferry Road area. So people in that area, wherever you live in Richland County, please come by. You can see the information. If you want more information, you can call the solicitor's office or call the public defender's office. And as Byron mentioned, they're already mailing out some information or, contacting some people who may have some bench warrants. So answer the phone if you get a call so that you can find out how you can participate in this event. And what a great Christmas present.
Absolutely. Because again, you want to be with your family. You want to be able to do those things, and you can do it with the just understanding. That this is not going to be an issue. Let me say one other piece about this, and I'll be quick. This time around, we are not including family court in this time around, and I won't get into all of the specific reasons, but we will not be doing family court this time around. There are a couple projects they're working on, so we're not able to include them this time, but it is going to be nonviolent bench warrants, but it will not include family court warrants this time around. So everything that we can touch is going to be actually within the jurisdiction of the solicitor's office this time around. Okay.
All right. No family court. No family court. All right. Before you leave, I want to talk a little bit about the very highly publicized Uber case that we actually talked about, I guess, a couple of times when you were here. And A&E actually made a story out of it, or did a feature on it last night. Tell us about that.
They did. It's called Murder in a College Town, and it was it's an hour-long kind of documentary of the Samantha Josephson case, also known as State versus Nathan Rowland, and it's really a sobering look of what happened from the time that she was abducted to the time that she was found, that her remains were found, to trying of the case, and just kind of a couple courtroom moments there. Some really poignant interviews with mom and dad, which are they're tough to watch. Especially tougher for us because we were there and seeing them, but just looking at it from a distance, it's tough to watch. But it was well done. Truthfully, if it could have been 2 hours, because there's so many more details, or I mean, quite frankly, it really could be, these days it could be 4 or 5 episodes.
Right.
There's so much and so many details you can only scratch the surface of in 1 hour. But I think it was well done, and it just highlighted just some of the things that were happening in the case and our perspectives on what we did and why we did it.
Wow. It was on last night, but I'm sure you can go on demand and check it out on A&E. Killer Cases Show, season 2 on the A&E network. The show is entitled Murder in a College Town. We're talking to 5th Circuit Solicitor Byron Gipson. He is typically on the show every second Thursday. He's here this Thursday because last Thursday we aired the town hall on gun violence, so that you could check that out. But hopefully he'll be back with us next month after the warrant resolution events. Byron, thank you again so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. I mean, listen, you said this is what you wanted to do. You're doing it. And this is super exciting to see. Just like Cynthia said, that you are going in the community. You are finding out what the issues are. You're really focused on trying to find solutions to the problems that our community is having surrounding violence and youth. And good luck, God bless, and thank you so much.
Thank you. A lot of work to be done, but we're up for it.
Yeah. All right, 5th Circuit Solicitor Byron Gipson. If you want more information, you can go to the website. You can visit their Facebook page. You can give them a call. And don't forget about the upcoming warrant resolution event happening December 6th through the 9th. Thanks again, Byron.
Thank you. All right,
Coming up next, she is using her own weight loss story to help other women get fit and fab. Coach Ebony is joining us next, and she's going to tell us how and why on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
Comet's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comet is our livelihood.
I'm Kimberly Aiken-Cockrum. As Miss America, I know that taking care of yourself is important. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. Brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
You're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We are streaming live on the TaylorMade production page. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow so you can watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also first Monday with comedian George Wallace. We're also streaming live on the TaylorMade production YouTube page. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. Hey, don't forget about the scroll at the bottom of the screen. We've got some great resources available for you. COVID testing, COVID vaccinations, also financial information. Check the scroll at the bottom of the screen and post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. This lady already has her own fan club. People are already posting about her. Ebony Cornish is teaching women to master their mindset so they can be the most fabulous versions of themselves. And she has firsthand experience because she did it herself. She joins us today to tell us how. Hey, Coach Eb, how are you with your beautiful self?
Hey, Trey, with your beautiful self.
Thank you. Look, girl, takes one to know one. That's Listen, want to shout out Stephanie Roach, also Sharon Martin and Shanika Turner. All of them are shouting out Coach Eb. I love a sister that has her own fan club when she comes. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. Please post and share. So listen, tell me first about your weight loss journey. Were you heavy as a child?
So I wasn't really excessively heavy as a child, average weight. I always liked to eat, but but I was fairly average weight growing up. I wasn't excessively big. I definitely wasn't small, but I was average weight.
Right. So when did you gain the weight?
So, Trey, for me, I realized that a lot of my weight gain came as I started pushing 30. So it's when I talk to my Fit and Fab tribe, I always talk about how I felt like growing up, like we used to have this phrase in our community, like, oh, you just thick, girl, you just thick.
Yeah.
You're thick, you're a little thick. But that thick I didn't have good habits.
Right. And thick never thins out.
Right. And when I think about it, I remember in high school, I would always I went to AC Flora. I would always get a honey bun and a Tahitian treat at lunch. And my counselor, Trey, and I think about it, one of my guidance counselor was like, it's sweet on your lips, but it'll stick to your hips.
Wow.
And I never, that never meant anything to me because at that time, my body was still going down. But definitely when I pushed 30, got pregnant, had children, got married, started working in my career. And that is when it really started catching up. It caught up with me.
Wow. We can see the pictures of Ebony and her weight loss journey. We also want to shout out Francine Barksdale Roach. She says, proud mama. Also, is that your mom?
Yeah, that's mom.
Okay. And Jeanette McDonald is also watching. Janelle Monique and Sharon Martin. Thank you, ladies, so much for watching me and Ebony. So listen, what happened that you decided to lose weight? Was there one particular thing or was it a series of events?
That's a great question. So I have crowned myself the queen of quitters. I was always starting and always stopping. Yeah. So I can think back to trying every crazy diet that I could have thought of. I remember trying the cabbage soup diet. My poor husband, I saw his comment on there. Hey, I remember I was like, I'm gonna do it, baby. I'm gonna do this cabbage soup diet. He brought all this cabbage, all this tomatoes, and I ate one bowl of it, and I was like, I can't do it. And he had to, we threw all the cabbage soup away. I remember going to boot camps and
wasting good cabbage, girl.
I was like, no, give me some pizza. But Trey, I was always starting, but I was always stopping.
Right.
And I'll never forget the moment and I had a friend who was into fitness and she was losing weight and she talked to me about losing weight. And I was like, no, I don't need your help. I'm going to do it myself. But I'll never forget my rock bottom moment. And I think this is really important because one thing I always want to tell people is this: although we have started and quit, for those people who are like me, who are quitters.
Right. And people do.
Right. What I want you to understand and the message I want to give you today is to know that everything that has led up to where you are today on November 18th is preparing you for your success.
Yes, ma'am. You're preaching now.
So often, I think we get hung up by our failures and we make allow our failures to make us feel like you're never going to be able to do it. You're never going to be able to succeed. And I'm not talking about people telling us that. I'm talking about, I always call it the silent hater in our minds.
Right.
That little voice in my mind that every time I wanted to start to lose weight, that memory would come back and be like, girl, you can't do it. You're going to quit.
Right.
You can't do it. You're just, so you may as well stop now. So I would end up self-sabotaging.
Yeah. And listen, you know what? And this is the thing about it that I love that obviously you didn't do. And I want to say this to everybody, and I'm glad you're saying this. It happens. It's normal. Nothing's wrong with you. It happens.
It happens.
It's the battlefield of the mind, like Joyce Meyer says. You know, our mind can trade those tricks on us.
Yes.
As Sharon Martin says, the invisible bully. And that's what it is. It's us. It's us, Sharon. That's, oh, girl, that's good. That's so
yes. True. And I remember all of us are going to have a moment when we are like, this is it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
And my moment, I'll never forget. I was going to work. I stopped at Bojangles. I got 2 Bo-Berry biscuits with extra icing. And I got the big 32-ounce sweet tea.
Oh my God, girl. Listen, I'm surprised you didn't have diabetes. That's the first thing I said.
God, look, let me when I was pregnant, my sister, I think she's watching, when I had to, you got to drink the nasty stuff to check. She was like, I can't believe you passed that. Like, I can't believe I was on the way though. I was definitely on the way.
Right.
But I was sitting there and I was sitting in my car, and at that time I had to wear a uniform at the job I had, and my pants were unbuttoned, and they were a size 16. And the reason they were unbuttoned is because I was like, I'm not buying bigger pants. So I was sitting in the car, pants unbuttoned, eating a Bo-Berry biscuit, drinking a sweet tea, getting a great sugar high. And I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror.
Wow.
And Trey, I was literally tea in my hand, mid-bite on a Bo-Berry biscuit, looking down at my belly, hanging over my pants that I couldn't even button. And I was like, who are you?
Wow.
And I call it like your outer experience. Like, there's a moment when we look at ourselves, and I was very disgusted with myself, but it wasn't a negative one. It was more of an empowering moment where I was like, I am better than this.
Yeah.
I am better than what I feel like right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get up and I got to figure this out.
Yeah. Listen, I love that, because I think, was that your only moment? Was that the first moment?
That was the moment. That was the moment where I hit rock bottom. That scale had went over 200 pounds. And I was like, yo, if I don't do something, I'm 30. I was 33 at that time. I was like, I don't do something, where am I going to be in 2 more years? Right. Except get bigger, because that was the only thing I proved that I knew how to do.
Yeah. We're talking to a coach, Ebony Cornish. She is telling us about her own weight loss journey and how she is now inspiring, informing, educating, motivating others to go on their own weight loss journey also. And I love the fact that you're doing it up from a place of, I was there and you can be there too. If I did it, you can do it. So you get your aha moment, that truth moment that Sharon says in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please post and share. And then what happens next? Do you throw out the Bo-Berry biscuit?
Yeah, I had to finish the Bo-Berry biscuit.
I know, that's right. You don't need to waste food. Don't need to waste food.
Look, I'm here now. We're gonna finish this. But it was in that moment, Trey, that I got up, and this is what a takeaway I want you guys, if you're listening, if you share this with somebody, this was the mindset shift I had in that moment. I already know what will happen if I quit. It's time to find out what's going to happen if I don't quit.
Yes.
And I just pulled off of that energy, and I said, you know what? I don't care how long it takes to lose the weight, because so many times, I would start a diet, and then if I didn't lose, I don't know, we get this number about how much weight we think we should move. I was like, if I didn't lose like 10 pounds in a month, I would be like, oh, that diet doesn't work. But I was not even being honest about my efforts. I would be sneaking, eating my son's Cheetos while my husband and my son were in the bed, realizing that I'm only hurting myself.
Yeah.
So I began to be honest with myself. So that's one of the things I want to tell you. Be honest about your efforts. And what I realized was, I I'm a quitter, or I was a quitter. So it just became a habit. So now I had to create a new habit of making a decision to not quit.
Yeah.
And having grace with myself.
Yes.
We put so much pressure on ourselves to think that, like, you're not going to wake up Monday and you never want a Bowberry biscuit again. You never want to get something like that doesn't work that way. But what we can do is begin to say, I'm going to be patient with myself. I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to find out what will happen if I don't quit. And then this is something that I think everyone can look at too, Trey, as we go into like looking at the year ending.
Yes.
How many New Year's did you say I'm going to lose weight? Like most people probably set some type of goal in the beginning of this year and said, I'm going to lose the weight.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we quit because we think it's taking too long. But think about this, guys. How quickly did this year pass by?
Oh, man. Yep.
The time is going to pass by anyway. And I was like, if I lose 1 pound, if I would have stayed consistent and lost 1 pound a week, I could lose 52 pounds in a year.
That's right. That's right.
And that's where I began to have that type of peace of mind to say, this isn't a race. This is me working on being better than I was yesterday and being patient with myself. And if I mess up and eat cookies at 2:00, guess what? That don't mean you go to Popeyes tonight and just eat trash for the rest of the days. It means you get right back up, you dust the cookie crumbs off your lips, and you keep going.
That's right. That's right. Sharon Martin says, eat in moderation, set attainable goals. Thank you guys so much for watching Coping with COVID. Ebony Cornish, Coach Eb, joins us telling us about our weight loss journey. So Ebony, did you exercise? Did you change your eating habits? How did you do it?
Great. So one of the things that I really realized was that at that time, my son was 3 years old. My husband and I worked different shifts, and I knew I couldn't go to the gym. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do something that will make my life excuse proof.
Yeah.
So I found home workouts. I started working out from home, 30 minutes a day. Literally in the beginning, I would roll out of my bed and work out in my pajamas. Just because I said, you know what? I'm going to get this done no matter what. Because I'm like, if I can't do a 30-minute workout in the house, I'm full of it.
Yeah.
So it took away my excuse. And then when it came to eating, I learned how to cut back on portions. I gave myself grace. Like I didn't like a lot of veggies because I was addicted to sugar. Yeah. So I said, well, I know I got to start eating vegetables. So I said, let me figure out what vegetables do I like. I like green beans. I like tomatoes, and I like cucumbers. And I ate those things over and over again. And then slowly I started trying butternut squash. And then my husband would bring stuff home and be like, try this. And slowly I changed. But that change is rooted in loving yourself, believing in yourself, and knowing that other people that are successful, it isn't because they had some type of, they're stronger than me or they're better than me. It's because they decided to believe in themselves. And I said, I'm going to believe in myself too.
And that's the key. You've got to love yourself more than you love fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? You gotta love yourself more than you love that Bowberry biscuit. But I think as women, we come with our own set of insecurities and looking at other people, and it is so. You're so right. You got to start within yourself first, loving yourself, accepting yourself, and setting, as someone said on the post, realistic expectations. Expectations. And listen, like you said, you worked out in your pajamas. Do what you can do. Walk up and down your steps, walk around the block when it's a nice day. Do what you can do for you. And it's gonna be different for everybody. Do something. Park a little, walk far away when you're at the mall or wherever, and then walk. So I love that you do that. So you lose the weight. How long did it take for you to get? And did you have a goal weight? And how long did that take?
So my goal weight was, I wanted to lose about 50 pounds.
Okay.
I did that in 9 to 12 months. So this span of time is about 9 to 12 months. I actually lost that weight in 2015. I have maintained that success since then, which is something I'm incredibly proud of. So I've been able to maintain that success and not gain that weight back. And it's hugely, hugely due to sharing my journey, help myself be accountable. My husband cooks for me, believes in me. He's always like, okay, my husband and my son keep me accountable. My tribe keeps me accountable. The Fit and Fab community keeps me accountable. But mostly because I'm like, God gave me a chance to lose it. I ain't gonna tempt him and get it back. Because no, I could get off. But just knowing that I have that accountability, and I just know how it feels to make myself proud.
Yeah.
And I want everybody, like I always tell everyone, when it comes to the food, I stop saying, oh, I can't eat that. I can eat whatever I want. That's why I tell my clients, don't ever tell me, well, I can't eat that. You can eat whatever you want.
Right.
You're a grown woman. Eat according to your goals. So that empowers them, so that when they go out with their friends and maybe their friends are having appetizers and blah, 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 and this and that, don't go in there looking all sad and pitiful. You go in there and drink your water, and you be bougie about your goals and say, I'm doing this. I'm not sad and pitiful, because if I want it, I can have it. I choose not to have it right now.
Not to have it.
Because I'm working on something.
And that's a big thing now as we go into the holidays,
Yes.
So, I mean, there may not be as many parties because of COVID, but there will certainly be plenty of cakes, cookies, eggnog, and all of that great stuff that we are going to be coming in contact with.
Yes.
What do you say to people that need to get some inspiration of how to move into the holidays and keep their mind focused on saying no? Just say no to 5 slices a piece of, sweet potato pie. Like, oh, eggnog is only once a year. I've got to have some eggnog. That was for me.
So this is what I say. We are what we do most of the time, not some of the time.
Right.
So if you know that you have a gathering coming up Friday night, then you know what? Monday through Friday, stay on it.
Right.
Stay on your healthier
choices.
choices.
Give yourself a splurge day.
Yes. Allow yourself that time, and you can enjoy that guilt-free, and you enjoy it. And then when you wake up Saturday morning, you go out and do your walk, you eat a healthy breakfast, make good choices throughout the day. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, because for many of us, as soon as we think we can't have it, that's when we want it.
Yeah.
So give yourself grace. Make sure you have balance. Remember that you have a choice, and then whatever choice you choose, you stay accountable to that choice.
Yeah. I love that, because that's what I told the kids for the fair. I was like, okay. And I'm not, I'm pretty strict with what they eat, but I was like, we're not eating no dessert, nothing this week, because we're going to the fair Saturday.
Right.
We're just going to totally eat everything.
Right.
Elephant ears, feet, legs, everything. We eat everything. But, and that's what we did. And they were cool with that. And they're babies. But, so why did you decide to, okay, I've lost the weight, I've kept it, now I want to help somebody else?
So I initially started sharing my journey when I was still overweight. I started sharing it way in the beginning, not because I was going to coach, but because for me, I knew that if I always said I wasn't going to tell people I was losing weight, because in the back of my mind, I always wanted to leave that back door open so that when I quit, I could shimmy out of it, and I don't want nobody asking me, I thought you was on a diet.
Yeah.
Sharing it made me accountable. So then when I started sharing it, people started asking me, well, what are you doing? And then I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. So then they would join me, and then it just really evolved and grew from there. If anyone told me that I would be where I am today in 2021 because I made a decision to take care of myself in 2015, I would say you're crazy.
Yeah.
So that's where that just building that community has really helped me stay on track. I love my Fit and Fabs. They're awesome.
Yeah. And that's, like you said, that's so much about accountability. You say you've got your son, you've got your husband, but folks who don't have a son and a husband or a family, you've got to find your tribe. You've got to find someone, one person, 2 people, whoever, that help motivate you, help inspire you, as you say, your tribe, your community, because we all need each other. We are not built to do this thing called life alone. And whatever your motivation is, find some people that are like-minded, have like-minded goals as you.
And then too, Trey, I want to add this, because I think sometimes, especially because I work with mainly women, and they might say, well, my husband isn't supportive or my family isn't supportive. They still eat other things around me. And this is what I tell them. Don't fault people for that. people can only help you at a certain level.
Right.
And so I always tell people, don't hold it against someone if they can't support you in that. They're just not capable.
Right. That's
which
right.
is why, and that helps us give us some grace with our family and our friends. What the vision that you had was given to you. It wasn't given to them. Maybe you're planted there to be the light for everyone else.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, that's something I learned a while ago. When God blessed me or gave me a vision, and I distinctly remember him saying to me, this is my conversation with you. This is my blessing for you. This is what I told you. I didn't tell anybody else, so nobody else is going to get it.
That's right.
You've got to seek out either just me, meaning God, or other people who get it, and that's so very true. That's so very true. Listen, so if people want more information, are you taking clients?
I am. So you can definitely look me up on Instagram at CoachEb_. You can look at my website, www.coachebony.com. I am on Facebook as Ebony Cornish. I've got on like a yellow tank top. So I look forward to working with you because it's all about mindset. It is about consistency. We're going from quitting to consistency so that you can live a fit and fabulous life.
Awesome. Awesome. Sharon Martin says your journey is just that, your journey. Janelle Monique says shout out to Purvis and Price. And Sharon Martin also said, well said, great motto. Thanks, Ebony. Thanks, Ebony. Listen, I need some help with my arms. Because you lift weights. I'm okay with the weight. I've got Ariel down there. I keep trying. But I don't know. But I'd love to talk to you about just, working on
we
my
got
arms.
this.
All right. Coach Eb joined us today. Shanika Turner says Fit and Fab, and you were just amazing, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for not only sharing your journey, but sharing your journey with others so they too can have the fit and fab, as you say, life that they desire and deserve. We deserve this, and we've got to start making the right choices for us.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that inspiration. We appreciate it. Janelle Monique says, beautiful. Love you, cousin. That's your cousin, Janelle.
Love you, cousin.
Yeah. All right. Thank you again so much. Francine Barksdale wrote says, go Coach Eb. That was your mom, right?
That's my mom, yes.
Okay. And Janelle Monique says, thank you, Eb. Thank you, Trey. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support of Coping with COVID and of Coach Eb. Thank you, beautiful. That was great. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email booking with Coping with COVID with Coping with Tre Tailor at .com. Booking at copingwithtreTailor.com. You can see the information on the bottom of the screen scrolling. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtreTailor.com. Again, that information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like SCDHEC, In It Together SC, the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday, also sponsors Javis Tax Services, the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office, Byron Gipson, the Comet Bus System, Palmetto Media Connections, Agape Counseling and Training Services, Black Expo, Palmetto Painting Services, and Palmetto Media Connections. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor. As always, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. I actually was going to ask Ebony. Ebony, do you have because she's still backstage. Ebony, do you have a inspirational, motivational show, or not show, but a reading that you want to you can share to end the show? I totally put you on the spot.
You did, but I do have something. Let me grab it. I've got my notes right here.
Yeah. I meant to ask you when we were backstage, but I forgot. But yeah, I wanted to share. While you do that, I'm going to share mine and then you can share yours. Okay?
Absolutely. Okay.
Today's Jesus Calling says, come to me and rest in my peace. My face is shining upon you and rays of peace transcending and understanding. Instead of trying to figure things out for yourself, you can relax in the presence of the one who knows everything. As you lean on me in trusting dependence, you feel peaceful and complete. This is how I designed you to live, in close communion with me. When you are around other people, you tend to cater to their expectations, real or unimagined. You feel enslaved to pleasing them, and your awareness of my presence grows dim. Your efforts to win their approval eventually exhaust you. You offer these people dry crumbs rather than the living water of my spirit flowing through you. This is not my way for you. Stay in touch with me, even during your busiest moments. Let my spirit give you words of grace as you live in the light of my peace. That's your Jesus Calling for today, Thursday, November 18th. I think Coach Eb has an inspirational reading she's going to share with us too. You can't get enough inspiration.
That's right.
Did you find something?
We're gonna leave with yours. We're just gonna leave with yours. Yours is great.
Okay, all right. That's your Jesus Calling. That's Coach Eb. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again on Coping with COVID. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Take care. Stay well. God bless. Get your vaccination, and don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID.